We kick things off with a shot of an island, immediately stated to be from another world. Our hero tells us that in order to defeat the resurrected demon lord of this place, he was reincarnated by God himself as the hero to save this world from certain doom. He takes on an entire army of knights at the same time, so we expect to see an intense battle, but he manages to defeat all of them without even breaking a sweat. It turns out that he was being watched by the king of this land, who can easily call him the chosen one now. After all, no normal person can defeat all the elite knights of the kingdom so easily. Having said that, the king also states that defeating the demon lord alone will be a rather difficult task. On that note, he had received a recommendation from the church for a skilled priest, so he suggests that our hero should travel with this person for his own good. His name is assumed to be Hiro as he walks down the streets of the town and checks out how normal life works over here. He has heard that monsters have started to appear in the neighboring towns as well, so security has to be ramped up. As a matter of fact, they will be needing protection, even to transport goods from one place to another. This could only mean that the threat of the demon lord attacking the town could become a reality very soon. Hiro realizes that at this rate, his own village and all its nearby areas will turn to dust if he does not do anything about it. Now, he takes a look at his hand, and we can see a holy crest that has been put on it. He explains that since he was the chosen one from God, he has been blessed with this holy crest, which is supposed to give him the power needed to defeat the demon lord. He has gone through a lot of rigorous training to be able to reach the level he is at now, and he will make sure to do his people justice. He will save this world and everyone in it, no matter what the cost. Now, Hiro goes to the holy church, where he meets the priestess heiress Henrik, who is shown to be an extremely cute girl. She blushes as she greets Hiro, but he wants to make her comfortable, so he offers his hand. This only makes her blush even further, so she cutely tells him that this is not what it seems. She is feeling shy because the church never allowed her to engage with men. This is why she does not have the confidence to speak to Hiro the way a normal woman would. Eris is so thirsty that even the thought of meeting a man makes her go crazy. As a matter of fact, since she is meeting a wonderful hero right now, it's almost as if her wildest dreams have come true. This is like a fairy tale to the priest girl, but she soon realizes that she has been letting her intrusive thoughts leak out to Hiro. She feels embarrassed for exposing her inner thoughts in such a way, that too before facing off against the demon lord. Eris says sorry for this behavior, but Hiro manages to recollect himself, and he says that this was a big relief for him. He reveals that he was also nervous to meet Eris, since he has never had a companion in this world, so the shyness applies to her as well as Hiro. Now that he has properly broken the ice, Hiro offers his hand to Eris once again, and this time she feels comfortable enough to take it. They shake hands and are about to set off on a wonderful journey with each other. But before they can do that, Eris asks Hiro to wait for a bit. She explains that if they face the demon lord as they are now, then they will be defeated for sure. As a matter of fact, they will be outright annihilated, so it strikes some fear into Hiro's heart. Eris explains that even though the hero of this world is supposed to have powers beyond anyone's wildest imagination, he lacks synergy with her, which will be necessary if they are to go up against the demon lord's army. After all, it's a large horde of demons they are up against, so they can't take their task lightly in the slightest. Hiro agrees with what Eris is saying, and he believes that in order for their synergy to be matched, they will need to get to know each other first. The priest girl seems to have a solution to that problem, so Hiro is ready to hear it. But when he turns around, he sees something that no man has seen before. Eris reveals it all and tells Hiro that this would be the best way to get to know each other better. Of course, he has no idea why she is suggesting such lewd acts to understand their intentions. But the priest girl tells him that her church friends had mentioned this would be the best way to break the ice. Hiro still can't believe what he is seeing in front of his very own eyes, and he keeps telling himself that this is his very first time seeing the real deal. So far, He has only been able to enjoy such sights on a 2D basis. But those are the days of the past. He immediately acts up though, and says that a cute girl should not be doing such things in the public eye. He then tells himself that he must not look at Eris with indecent intentions, because that is not the way of a hero. After all, his intrusive thoughts are said to be the deadliest of them all. Eris has a different way of looking at this, as she says that she could not help but feel drawn in to expose herself to the hero of this world. She has never done such a lewd thing ever before in her entire life, but she is ready to risk it all in order to get to know Hiro better. She is about to beg Hiro to do unspeakable things to her. But before she can get to that point, he holds her shoulders and tells her this is wrong. He does not think that she should give up her cherry just because it is necessary to defeat the demon lord. That logic may not make sense to us, but we can assume that Hiro is only doing this to stop his inner beast from going berserk. He is ready to defeat his enemy without having to act out his intrusive thoughts, and he tells Eris that she can do the same thing. He strikes a heroic pose as he says this, hoping to convince the priest girl not to tempt him any further. However, Eris makes a rather irresistible face as she looks at her hero with vulnerable eyes. She then asks him if he does not like the way she looks, and this only makes things harder for Hiro. It doesn't take long for him to give in to the temptation of the senses, and he ends up doing it with Eris. He tells us that he has messed up big time, because he did not expect his inner will to be so weak against a cute girl. While he does admit that losing his V card to a cute and curvy babe is the best possible thing that can happen to a man, he also tells us that he has now delayed his schedule to defeat the Demon King by 1 day. He has a mission to save the world, and he has been chosen by God himself to do it. But instead, he has let his intrusive thoughts win and has done lewd things to a girl from the Holy Church. Hiro smacks himself in the head, and he keeps telling himself that his job here is to be a hero, not a playboy. He promises himself that he will never give in to temptation ever again, because he has a job to do and people whose lives depend on him. It's a rather serious moment as Hiro makes his oath, and he even swears it by his own hero crest. However, soon enough, Eris wakes up and calls out to him saying that there is so much more for her to learn about him. She then gives him the look of thirst once again and asks him to teach her the ways of shady people once more. This is all it takes for Hiro to forget about the promises he made 5 seconds ago, and he tells us that he will resume his mission the next day. It's a hilarious moment which is followed by lots of shady ones as Hiro and Eris do things that even the holiest of churches would never be able to forgive. Of course, at this time, Hiro had no idea that the most difficult part of defeating the Demon King was not the actual fight or even the journey from this town, but rather the sweet honey traps that are waiting for him along the way. Now, we move to a flashback scene where Hiro can be seen getting onto a carriage, although he is being stopped by a girl who appears to be his friend. She tells him that he is a wimp, and he will lose his life if he goes on to become a hero. He agrees with her logic, but also reasons that since he is the chosen one, he will just have to take that risk. The girl is not pleased to hear this, but since Hiro has made his choice, she has also made hers. She declares that she will be the first person to join his squad and watches back as he goes to defeat the Demon Lord. Now, we move back to the present day, where a bald man tells Hiro that he can't introduce him to any wizards. He is not even ready to give a reason for it, and he asks Hiro to leave his shop this very moment. Hiro laments that this is the 5th time he has been rejected today when it comes to looking for a wizard. He then tells us how he ended up wasting a full day because he succumbed to the temptation of the priest girl Eris. Today, they have split up in order to save time on gathering companions, but Hiro has had no luck when it comes to gathering wizards. He feels that there might be a shortage of some people in the village, which is why he is having such a hard time. Having said that, he can't just go on a mission without a wizard, so something will have to be done about it. Suddenly, someone comes up from behind and asks him if he is supposed to be the chosen one. She is shown to be a wizard girl, and she comments on how it is such a coincidence for her to bump into Hiro. He realizes that this is the same girl he knew from back when he was a kid, and her name is revealed to be Lisa. He gets a bit too excited and asks her how she's been. It's been a long time since they last met, but Lisa tells Hiro not to get too passionate because it's a bit embarrassing for her. She introduces her full name as Lisa Lumiere Longstream, and then Hiro tells us that she is the daughter of Count Lumiere Longstream. Basically, Lisa's family would rule over the land where Hiro was reincarnated, and Lisa used to be a close friend of his. They would play with each other all the time back then, but now they are both grown up and ready to act as adults. Hiro notices that Lisa's outfit is a tad bit too liberal, but she explains that she has gotten the hat and the cloak from the Magic Academy. She was able to graduate with top honors from there, so she felt like celebrating her achievements by wearing these items. Being the top graduate of a Magic Academy is a very big deal, so Hiro congratulates her on her achievements. Lisa also says that it is due to this accomplishment that she has been getting a ton of offers from the country as well as its guilds. Hiro explains to her that this is because everyone would want a wizard like her, especially in this village where they are in short supply. Hearing this is exactly what Lisa wanted, as she gives us a shady smile and then tells Hiro that if he wants, then she can join his team as the wizard. She then makes an evil place and tells Hiro that since he's been rejected by 5 places already, she is ready to think about it if he asks her nicely. However, the wizard girl does not realize that she has given away a crucial piece of information here. There was no way for her to know that Hiro's request for a wizard has been rejected, and that too 5 times. Lisa becomes nervous and tries to play this down by saying it's just a hunch. She then says that it's not like she's been going to all the various guilds and ordering them to avoid Hiro's requests for a wizard. This should be more than enough to prove that Lisa was the one who was sabotaging Hiro by restricting access to the other wizards. He looks at her with suspicious eyes, but she tells him not to judge her. After all, she is doing this only because he has made Eris his companion. He does not understand why Lisa is bringing up Eris in this conversation, so she explains that it's because he made the priest girl his companion before her. Hiro is a bit confused by this, so Lisa explains that she was supposed to be the first person he would choose as his companion. We can figure out that the wizard girl is very jealous that Eris got Hiro's elephant trunk before she did, and she even explains that she was spying on the couple. Lisa had seen Hiro roaming around with the priest girl, and she even went to the inn and spied on their shady activities. She says that she could hear all sorts of noises at the inn, so Hiro asks her to repeat these words as he could not hear what she said. This is not to tease her or anything, but Lisa still gets upset and tells Hiro that he should just wait and watch. She is going to make him see how useful her magic can be. So she turns around and begins chanting a spell. Lisa calls out to the Lord of Water for support over here. But the problem here is that she is not just using a single chant, but rather 3 of them all at the same time. Hiro realizes that this is not good news, because such a series of chants could mean bad news for all the people in the village. He tries to stop Lisa from unleashing the spell in the middle of town, but it's too late for that as she calls upon her water lance attack. A burst of energy erupts from the wizard girl, and Hiro is blinded by the lights. When he looks back at the wizard girl, he sees something that once again, no man has seen before. It turns out that Lisa could not control the power of her spell, and it has led to her own clothes getting destroyed by the water lance. Hiro feels bad for the wizard girl, so he says sorry to her, but he also can't stop looking at her curvy body. Lisa tells him to turn his eyes away, so he apologizes once again and gives her a cloak to cover herself. Now, he takes Lisa back to the inn and tells her that it really must be tough for her to do triple chanting. After all, it's a difficult thing to do, and he feels bad for making her mad enough to try it in the middle of town. However, Lisa states that what she did was not reckless at all. As a matter of fact, she can even do a quadruple chanting if there is a need for it. But today just happened to be a coincidence. She wasn't nervous, and neither was she trying to show off or anything like that. This is when the wizard girl confesses that she wanted to show her powers to Hiro, so that he could think that she is the best. This clouded her mind and judgment, which is why her triple chanting backfired on her. Hiro simply smiles at this confession and tells Lisa that she has got it all wrong. He reveals that Eris is actually his second companion because Lisa was always meant to be his first. He has been intending to do this ever since they said goodbye to each other back at the village. Hearing this makes Lisa very emotional, and it also brings tears to her eyes. She immediately hugs Hiro and says that she is touched to see that he has remembered the promise they made to each other. Of course, Hiro is also touched by this. But now that Lisa is hugging him, he notices something which he had never noticed before. Lisa seems to be thin and small now that she is in his arms. This was not the case back when he and she used to play with each other, because Lisa was a strong and reliable leader in the village. This is when our hero realizes that Lisa is a girl at the end of the day, so she is bound to feel this way. He tells Lisa that he is sorry to have been so insensitive, as he should have paid more attention to her feelings. It's a rather sweet moment. But then the wizard girl changes the tone when she tells Hiro that she wants to do to him what Eris was doing the previous night. Lisa does not want to lose to the priest girl, and she does not care if she does not have the experience for it either. She just wants to get down with Hiro as soon as possible. But this is not exactly what he was expecting from his childhood friend. He tries to explain that Lisa should lose her V card simply because of a sense of rivalry. But his words fall on deaf ears as she makes a cute face and asks why she can't be number one to him. She proceeds to show some delicate pillows to Hiro, and this is more than enough for him to lose his sense of morals and give in to temptation once again. What follows is a display of unspeakable acts, and by the end of it, Hiro is once again up in bed cursing himself for messing up yet another time. As he tries to keep his intrusive thoughts at bay, he also laments that fact that he is not doing anything about the mission that has been given to him. Not only is he busy taking V cards like local currency, his latest companion is the daughter of the Count, which is a big deal. If the word was to spread all over the country, then the Count will not only have Hiro's head, but also wipe his village off the face of the world. He tells Lisa that she will need to keep this a secret between the two of them, because he can't afford to have the truth out there in the public. However, it's a bit too late for that because Eris walks into the room with a smile on her face. That smile quickly turns into a scowl as she notices Lisa in bed with her lover boy, and she asks him who this woman is. We don't know what happens after that, because we shift to nighttime now. There are some men who have gathered together, and they seem to be looking for a girl. We see the girl right after, and she states that she has found herself in quite a pickle now. We have no idea who this girl is as of now. But then we shift back to Hiro, who comments on how he ended up doing shady things with his childhood friend, literally one night after he got with a priest girl from the holy church. The result is that he is in the middle of two girls who do not seem to like each other at all. Hiro prefers to keep quiet, but then Lisa lashes out at Ares by saying she is not even needed to defeat the Demon King. The priest girl does not care for what the wizard girl has to say, and she explains that learning something in the Magic Academy is a completely different thing when compared to actual combat. Hiro does not like where this conversation is going, and he hopes to change the topic of the chat soon. Otherwise, his group is going to fall apart like a house of cards. Now, he comes up with an idea, and he tells the girls that they should make the final member of their group a male warrior. He should be veteran because everyone in this group do not have the necessary experience to take on a Demon King. Of course, his primary motive is to make sure he does not get cornered by the girls, and his idea gains favor with Eris. Even Lisa agrees to it, although she feels that the veteran will primarily be used to carry their luggage. Now, the team enters an alleyway and Hiro states that there is supposed to be a skilled warrior in this area. That's when he bumps into the same girl we had seen earlier. She is shown to be a bunny girl who is cute and curvy to a whole other level. She says sorry for bumping into Hiro because she was in a hurry, and she is revealed to be from the rabbit tribe. Of course, the only thing on our hero's mind is how cute and curvy this babe is, and then we learn that her name is Adela. Suddenly, a man shows up and comments on how he has finally caught the bunny girl. He is from the same men who we saw last night looking for Adela, and he tries to forcefully take her away. Of course, Adela does not want this, so Hiro decides to step in the way. He tells the man that violence is not the answer to any problem. But these words are not going to work on someone who looks like a certified goon. He tells Hiro not to mistake himself as some justice warrior, and then he calls his buddies to come help him here. The men charge at Hiro, and they say that he won't understand anything unless they teach him the hard way. Of course, this was nothing more than a big mistake, because it does not take Hiro a lot of time to wipe them down with ease. He then asks Adela if she is all right, and she hugs him with love because he has just saved her from some very bothersome men. Hiro is in heaven right now because his face is being mushed against some very soft pillows. However, he knows that he already has 2 lover girls to deal with, so he tries to keep his distance from Adela. The bunny girl also realizes that she may have gotten a bit too excited, and then Hiro asks her what exactly is going on between her and these goons. He could be able to help her in some way, so she states her full name as Adela Cage Seva. She happens to be a dancer in this town, which has made her famous in the wrong way. Due to this, she gets a lot of offers from men to become their concubine, but she has no interest in dealing with shady people. However, since she refuses every man who has come her way, it has led to some of the nobles getting angry. They resort to violence in such cases, which is why Adela can't even rely on the guards to help her out. This is more than enough for Hiro to offer his protection to her, but this comes as a shock to the bunny girl. Hiro explains that it is his duty as the chosen one to help and protect those who are in need, especially if they happen to be cute and curvy babes. Adela is touched by how sweet and caring Hiro is, and she thanks him for his offer. But she also states that she will only be causing him trouble if she stays with him. With that, she leaves the scene and says that she will be going back to her hometown. But Hiro does not want her to go. Of course, he wants Eris and Lisa to think that he is mainly doing this because of his duties as a hero. But in his heart, he knows that Adela is not only beautiful and curvy, but she also had a mature vibe, which is something the other 2 girls do not possess. Now, the goon from before wakes up from his thrashing and calls Hiro a little brat. Hiro does not appreciate such words, so he asks the men if they still want to fight him. They clearly don't want that, and they beg him to listen to them first. This is when the goon asks Hiro to check if he is missing his wallet or anything. He goes ahead and reaches for his wallet, but to his shock and surprise, it is not there. Now, Hiro learns that Adela is actually a con woman who ensnares men into her traps. The goon man was simply looking to get back at her for stealing his own cash, which was why he was being so violent. He then tells Hiro that he has become Adela's latest victim, and it's all because of his intrusive thoughts. Hiro panics and figures that he should go after the bunny girl, because he will need the money to take care of his harem girls. Now, we see Adela, who is pleased with the fact that she was easily able to con Hiro. She comments that he was pretty simple to convince with her act, but then she remembers what he said about protecting her. Usually, when the nobles would try to gang up on her, men would try to get away from the scene, but in this case, Hiro was fine to attack the enemy regardless of their rank. Eventually, Adela admits that she let a good guy slip away. But such is life for people like her. Unfortunately for her, a lizard man suddenly creeps up on her and grabs the bunny girl without mercy. He is a bit shocked that it was so easy to catch Adela because she is usually very thorough and sneaky. Adela can't believe this has happened, and it's all because she was thinking about Hiro this whole time. The lizard man now acts shady and says that he is going to make Adela pay for all the scams she has committed towards him. Suddenly, a whole gang of lizard men show up. So the bunny girl jokes that she does not like it rough. Of course, this is just a tactic. And the lizard man says he is not going to fall for any of her tricks anymore. He proceeds to choke the bunny girl, and he says that no one is going to come save her this time. Things are about to get very difficult for Adela. But at that very moment, she hears a familiar voice saying that he's glad he was able to catch up to her. It's none other than Hiro, who has just shown up before the lizard men turn their freak on. The leader asks our hero if he was also conned by the bunny girl, and he offers him to have at her as well. Of course, Hiro would never do such a thing, and he uses his super speed to grab Adela out of the arms of these lizard men. He then says that he had actually made a promise to protect the bunny girl not too long ago. These words totally win Adela over because she never would have thought Hiro would do such a thing for her. The lizard men are not happy by his behavior, and they say that they will make him pay for his interference. Of course, no such thing happens and Hiro is able to scare away the lizard men with ease. Adela thanks Hiro once again and lauds him for his kindness, but he simply says that he will always keep the promises that he makes. Now, he asks Adela to return all the money she has swindled so far to all her victims. She does not mind doing this, but she feels that it would be better for her to become Hiro's companion. She tempts our hero as much as she can by saying that it will be a lot of fun to be together with him. Hiro tries his best not to activate his intrusive thoughts, and he says that he is looking for a mature warrior, not a companion. Adela wastes no time in getting close and personal with Hiro, and she asks him if he is feeling embarrassed by her actions. She can feel a sense of coldness from him, so she rubs her soft pillows all over Hiro to bring him towards demon mode. Adela adds that he can be taken advantage of quite easily by a succubus due to his nature. After all, if he can't control his intrusive thoughts in the middle of his journey, then he will get ripped off heavily at professional places. She goes for a finisher move by saying he will not have such problems if she will be around him. Adela proudly states that she can solve all of Hiro's needs, and he will be able to do whatever he wants to her, that too whenever he wants it. She continues to tempt Hiro, and it looks like his elephant is about to whip his trunk all over the place, especially when the bunny girl leans in to lock lips with him. This is when Hiro reminds himself that he is on a mission, and he needs to resist such temptations. It also helps that he has been with 2 cute girls in 2 days already, so he manages to break free from Adela's lips. But the damage to his loins is so strong that he falls to the ground. Adela is impressed to see how stubborn Hiro really is, but she likes a challenge, so she says that she will tempt him slowly until he gives in to her curvy body. As a matter of fact, she will try to make him beg for it by the time she's done with her teasing. Either way, Hiro takes Adela into his team, and he brings her to both Eris and Lisa. The problem, though, is that he had told the girls he would be bringing a veteran male warrior. Naturally, they are not too pleased to see such a cute and curvy babe with their lover boy, and Hiro can only lament that he has messed up yet again, and this time without even acting on his intrusive thoughts. Of course, Adela likes to fool around, so she tells Hiro that it was a lot of fun for her when he kept saying please. Of course, this is not the truth, so Hiro panics, but the damage is already done as both Eris and Lisa would like to have a word with him regarding the latest member of his harem. Now, we don't know how the chat went between our hero and the girls, but as we move forward to the next day, we can see that the team is working together. They are in a forest right now, and they are looking for medicinal herbs to help with their mission. Of course, his main mission is to try and get his girls to be a bit friendlier in nature towards each other, because it does not look like Eris and Lisa are fond of Adela. Now, Lisa takes Hiro's hand and says that she wants to take him around with her for gathering the herbs. He manages to curb his shady desires, and he tells Lisa that she needs to get serious with her work. This is when Hiro tells us that his other main mission is to make sure that he does not fall to temptation again. We learn that he did end up doing shady things with Adela after all, so he has slept with the bunny girl Eris, and Lisa as well, although he has somehow limited himself to only one session with each of them. He states that his actions were just a one-time thing, so there is no way he is going to mess it up further. He wants to make sure that things are even, and his dedication can be seen on his face, so the girls feel that their lover boy is all fired up. The girls even comment that this would be their chance to do well and outperform their rivals. The task begins, but Lisa seems to be having a hard time trying to figure out which of the herbs and plants can be used for medicine. At this very moment, she hears Hiro talking to Eris about the knowledge she has of these herbs. The priest girl is being given a lot of attention by her lover boy, and it makes Lisa extremely jealous. Eris states that the study of herbs as medicine is an important subject which is taught at the church, so such things are a piece of cake for her. Now, she finds a nice herb and offers it to Hiro for eating. He does as she says and takes a bite, only to find out that it can freshen his breath. Basically, this is a mint leaf, and Eris goes on to explain how useful it is in this world. Seeing the two of them being so cute and cozy with each other is not a good thing for Lisa, because she knows that she will lose the battle quite easily if things keep going this way. Now, Eris points out to the other side of the mountain, and she says that it is the home to an incredibly delicious and extremely rare prey. It has a taste worth boasting about, so the priest girl is sure that Hiro would love to try it out. Lisa can't take this anymore, so she says that she will go look for another place, after which she runs away in a dash. Hiro calls out to her because he does not want his girls to separate themselves from each other. After all, this is supposed to be a bonding exercise mainly for Lisa, Adela, and Eris. Speaking of which, the bunny girl pops up from behind a bush and asks Hiro to come help her out with something. The chosen one goes to ask her what's wrong, but this was nothing more than a trap set by her to capture Hiro unguarded. She grabs him by the arm and holds on to his body as they fall to the ground. She talks about how exciting it would be to act on their intrusive thoughts out in the open. But surprisingly, Hiro is able to fight the temptation, and he tells her to shift the focus to collecting herbs. He quietly celebrates in his mind, because even he is surprised that he was able to say no to the bunny girl. He is clearly not the same person he was yesterday, and that's a good thing for him if he actually wishes to complete his mission. Of course, Adela is not too happy about this, and she says that she does not even know how to differentiate between the herbs. She is getting bored, and at this very moment, Eris pops up with some paper sheets. She shows a picture of some herbs and tells the bunny girl to look for it. Adela does not know where to find it, so Eris points to another set of mountains and explains that the herb is only found over there. It's a bit too far for the bunny girl, but she knows that if Hiro were to bring these herbs back to the guild, then it would elevate his reputation without a doubt in the world. Adela looks at Hiro and asks him if it would make him happy for her to go and find these herbs. He says yes, but he would ideally want the girls to engage in this exercise together with each other. The bunny girl doesn't even allow him to finish his sentence and instantly jumps on top of the tree. She says that she will go ahead and gather the herb as part of her daily exercise. Once again, Hiro tries to call out to Adela so that get her to come back here and bond with Eris, but she does not listen to him and rushes away to get the herbs. Now that both the girls have gone away, Eris asks Hiro if they should continue with their own gathering. He has no choice but to delay the bonding session for later. But then he feels a sudden surge of sensations inside his body. This causes Hiro to drop to the ground, and it makes Eris a bit concerned. She asks him what's the matter. And this is when we learn that Hiro is actually feeling a lot of heat in his nether regions. He does not understand why he is feeling such a thing, but that's when Eris reveals that she forgot to tell him something earlier. She states that the herb she gave him to eat earlier was actually an aphrodisiac, but with a delayed effect. This is not good news for our hero, so he asks the priest girl what can be done to cure this issue. Eris comes close to her lover boy and says that the ingredients of this herb end up getting mixed with his elephant's trunk water. Keeping this in mind, He will be able to cure his issue as long as he is able to release the trunk water. This is bad news for Hiro because his intrusive thoughts are running wild anyway. And on top of that, Eris is way too close to him for his own comfort. He says that if she ends up touching him now, then he will surely lose his balance. Hiro figures that he'll just go to the bushes and let it all out from a solo session. But Eris holds on to him and says that she would like to help him out with this issue. He does not know how to respond to this, but Eris says that it's her fault because of which he has ended up this way. This seems a bit suspicious anyway. And then Eris makes a shady face to say that it would be better for them to do lewd things now since the other girls are far away. Hiro is shocked to hear this, because it feels as if the priest girl had planned this whole thing right from the very start. Eris makes a cute face and says that this is nothing more than a mere coincidence. But then Hiro wonders if she would even do such a thing in public. Eris says that she would definitely be embarrassed to engage in lewd acts out in the open. But she really wants to serve her lover boy with her mouth. Things are about to get heated really soon, and it looks like our hero has given a taste to his priest girl. But then both Lisa and Adela come back with their spoils. They catch Hiro and Eris in the middle of a suspicious position, so they ask the couple what exactly they're doing with each other. Hiro can only give a confused look, and Eris hides her mouth, after which she says that they were not doing anything at all. This means that Hiro has messed up yet again, but at this point, it looks as if he enjoys making such mistakes. Now Lisa decides to show some of the things she has brought with her, so she opens up the item box. She shows that the prey she had hunted from the mountain was a dragon, which she thought looked very delicious. Adela also reveals that she had collected all the herbs she could find on the mountain she went to. This leads to a rather hilarious chat amongst the girls, and Hiro can only watch on in shock as they try to figure out what to do with so many herbs and a massive dragon. As he sees the girls engaging with each other, Hiro wonders if his plan to make them bond with each other ended up working. However, we can see that Lisa had her doubts, which was why she came back early. Now, she will never let her guard down again, and even Adela thinks that she should come up with a way to outsmart the other two. Meanwhile, even Eris is plotting her next move to trap Hiro, so it is safe to say that the Chosen One's plan was nothing short of a failure. Now, Hiro and the girls get down to training for the Demon Lord, and they decide to challenge the beginner dungeon in the town's underground facility. The purpose of this is coordination training, and then we see Lisa using her water lance attack. She is able to pull off an impressive strike, so she asks Hiro if he was impressed by her magic. However, he is too busy helping out Eris, and he tells Lisa not to go ahead alone when it comes to such tasks. Even Adela states that this does not feel like training at all, and then the girls ask Hiro to say something fast. Lisa is still feeling like she is the most overpowered out of all the harem members, so she openly states that Hiro will not need Eris or Adela for his mission. The Chosen One does say something to Lisa, and she expects that it will be filled with praise, but that is not the case as he repeats she should not be doing these things alone. After all, they are doing coordination training here, so Lisa unleashing her spells this way only defeats the purpose. The wizard girl does not like the way her lover boy is talking to her, and she states that it should be good enough if she is able to take down all the enemies by herself. She then goes on to say that she will prove her powers to our hero, but then Adela notices something odd. She calls out to Lisa, but she does not pay attention as the ground below her starts to crumble and collapse. Lisa has no idea of what's going on, and she falls along with the rubble, so things are not looking good for her. Of course, Hiro is not going to let this slide, so he rushes to Lisa and holds her hand. However, he also slips along with the falling rubble, and it causes the other two girls to panic over their lover boy. Both Lisa and Hiro fall right to the bottom of the pit, but they look like they have not been injured. Lisa can't believe that she is this close to Hiro because she never got such a chance since their first time together. More importantly though, she can't believe that she fell victim to such a simple trap. We learn that Lisa was able to use her magic to soften the impact of the fall, which is probably why the only pain Hiro is feeling is on his groin. This is because Lisa is in a delicate position with him, but he still asks her if she is feeling all right. The wizard girl gets up and says that they should get going because the boss should not be too far away from here. Of course, Hiro uses his common sense and asks Lisa to wait for Eris and Adela to come here first. Since they are already at the bottom of the dungeon, Lisa does not see the point in waiting for the other girls. If they defeat the boss, then they will automatically win the dungeon. But even so, Hiro tells the wizard girl that Eris is the one who has the map to the boss. He knows that his priest girl will be here soon, but Lisa becomes even more jealous now. She makes a sad face and tells Hiro that he really trusts her a lot. He tries to be calm in this moment because he does not want to hurt the feelings of his childhood friend. At this very moment, an odd slimy substance approaches the couple, and we can see that it is actually a slime monster. Lisa realizes that the big boss of the dungeon is the slime itself, which means that the couple had fallen directly into the boss's room. Hiro tells Lisa that they should retreat for now, but she is not ready to do that at all. She knows that clearing the dungeon is her main goal, and she wants to beat the slime all by herself so that she can prove her worth to Hiro. She immediately unleashes her water lance attack on the slime, but something does not seem to be right. She is unable to conjure any powers, and this is because they are in a zone that nullifies magic. This is bad news, so Hiro holds on to Lisa and tries to run away from the monster. However, the slime seems to have taken a liking to Lisa, so it attacks her and traps the wizard girl in its slimy tentacles. The slime seemingly eats through her clothes, which means that Lisa is in a tricky situation. She laments that this is all her fault, and she is only being given the correct punishment for thinking she could pull this off on her own. Luckily for her, Hiro does not need to rely on magic, so he activates his super speed and snatches her away from the slime monster. In this moment, he also ends up destroying the monster with ease due to his amazing strength. This is great for the couple, but Lisa seems to be a bit taken aback. She asks Hiro why he saved someone as useless as her, but he does not understand her logic. After all, it's only natural for him to come to the rescue of his harem girls. Lisa is important to him, which is why he does not want her to run off on her own. The wizard girl is overcome by emotion, and she hugs Hiro with all her love. As expected, the closeness of her body makes our hero activate his intrusive thoughts again. So he tries to avoid another mistake by telling her that they should wait somewhere else for the other girls. She says no to this suggestion, and the blushing on her face suggests that she too is having some intrusive thoughts of her own right now. She says that she wants to stay this way for a while, but Hiro looks terrified. This is not because of him worrying about giving in to his shady desires, but rather because of the fact that both Eris and Adela have reached the destination as well. They comment that Hiro was able to defeat the boss, but they are not too happy to see him so cozy with Lisa. What makes things even worse is the fact that her clothes have been dissolved, so Hiro tries to explain how the slime's tentacles were melting them off. Lisa also tries to give an explanation, but it doesn't look like the girls are ready to hear that. The wizard girl does not want to stick around and play games, so she says that they should all get out of this dungeon. After all, they have defeated the boss, so they have conquered it completely. She then tells the other two girls that they should also come with her, because the rest of the vanguard must lead the way. There could be traps and other obstacles on the way, so the others agree with what she says. Of course, they also say things in a sarcastic manner, so Lisa thinks that they are making fun of her. Now, we move to the night time where we see Hiro training with his sword rather diligently. As he assumes a battle stance, the Chosen One can say with utmost certainty that he is ready to take on the Demon King now. He will set out on his journey with the girls tomorrow, but he also has a training session left with Adela. She throws some rocks at him while his eyes are shut, and it does not go well for Hiro. He does manage to strike a few of them, but he gets hit by the other rock pieces. The bunny girl asks if he is fine because she had thought he would be able to catch them all. At first, Hiro wants to scold Adela, but then he realizes that he needs to do better. Even if he is not able to see, he should still be able to sense the rocks coming his way. After all, the Demon King could be a huge problem to deal with if he operates in darkness. Hiro wants to keep the girls protected, which is why he is so keen on perfecting this battle style. But Adela simply thinks that he is saying this to trick girls like her. Of course, this is not the case, and Hiro tells her to stop teasing him so much. The bunny girl says sorry, and as a token of her apology, she offers to teach Hiro the battle techniques of the rabbit tribe. Hiro does not know what kind of style these people use, so Adela decides to blindfold him as part of the training. She tells Hiro to start off by sharpening his senses with magic. The rabbit men usually try this tactic when they know they can't rely on the sharpness of their ears. Hiro has seen this before in manga comics and anime, as such a tactic is known as blind sight. Of course, Adela is only here to have some fun, so she throws a whole bunch of rocks at Hiro, thus causing him a whole new world of pain. Our hero drops to the ground, and the bunny girl mocks him for being wide open. He tells her that she should not be throwing rocks at him without any warning, but she feels there's a lot more tension if she does it this way. Hiro has no other choice but to follow Adela's advice, so he starts by sharpening his magic senses, and he can already see a bit of a difference. The bunny girl does not buy this, because it does not happen so quickly when you try to sharpen your magic senses. She seems to be forgetting that Hiro is a completely different breed when it comes to such skills, and she is made to eat her words right then and there as Hiro activates his blind sight without breaking a sweat. Adela is shocked to see how capable Hiro is, and then he even taunts her by asking if she is going to throw the rocks at him now. The chosen one taps into his childish side as he talks about how easy it was for him to master this style, even though it is supposed to be a secret move of the rabbit tribe. Naturally, Adela does not appreciate such talk, but Hiro continues to tease her by saying she should not feel bad about such things. Hiro tells her that she should be happy to see her lover boy becoming even stronger, but then Adela states that he should try dodging her next attack. He is ready for it and tells the bunny girl to bring it on, but he seems to have forgotten who he is dealing with. He can feel some kind of odd sensation, and he does not know how to react to it. Adela then asks Hiro if something happens to be the problem over here. It turns out that the bunny girl has nicely placed her soft pillows onto Hiro's body, which is why he is now blinded by his own intrusive thoughts. His blind sight is not working anymore, so Adela can lay claim to a victory on her side. But what kind of twisted fantasy is she trying to enact over here? Also, for how long is Hiro going to avoid getting lucky with his 3 harem girls? Is he ever going to actually set out to defeat the Demon Lord as well? Like, share, and subscribe if you liked what you saw and want me to continue the story. If this video gets enough views, then I'll make part 2 immediately. Okay then, I'll see you next time.